I've now done simple one-shot builds with all of the characters in Clair Obscur Expedition 33, each of them providing a one-turn solution to both clear the screen of all enemies or deal devastating single-target damage. I've fine-tuned the Lune build for it to be even more powerful and pretty broken, pushing it to its limits whilst there's still being room for one or two further tweaks if desired. We're going to approach this from the perspective of a solo build. However, if you want to run it in a group, it is perfectly capable of doing so. You'll just need to make some adjustments with the last stand and stuff like that. The weapon of choice for this build is the fantastic Scaverim, Lune's highest base power weapon, which can be found in the Falling Leaves optional area upon defeating the main boss. None of the bonus level 4, level 10 or level 20 abilities are going to come into play at all, so don't worry about them. We are in fact using it for its irrefutable OPness. If you want to use the Kralim or the Coralim instead, that's absolutely fine, use whatever works for you, but the Scaverim is absolutely solid. For her Pictos, we're going to be equipping very high Lumina cost abilities that we're going to need as part of the build anyhow, and as this is a solo build, we don't need to worry about crit rate, we will sort that out with the Luminas. I've gone for Cheetah, Energizing Turn, and Energy Master, feel free to copy those like for like. Onto the Luminas now. Accelerating Last Stand and Empowering Last Stand are going to give us Rush and Powerful when we start the fight, which we can use with Energizing Powerful, Energizing Rush, Energizing Turn, and Energy Master to ensure that our AP generation from the get-go is completely taken care of. Last Stand critical to give you 100% crit rate when solo is of course core, as is First Strike, Cheetah, which we have equipped, and of course Painted Power to breach the 9999 damage barrier. Everything else is damage boosting Luminas, use as many as you have. You may want to use stuff like Auto Death and Survivor to get you to 1 HP immediately, combined with At Death's Door, Greater Powerful, Glass Cannon, Immaculate, Inverted Affinity. Anything and everything that you have is going to help. If you copy my exact setup here, you're going to hit like an absolute truck. I like taking Exposing Attack and Greater Defenseless because sometimes you'll be able to play 3 times, which you'll see will give us a chance to apply Defenseless and make it even more effective. And I'm fairly certain Shortcut doesn't work additively right at the start, it gets eaten by Cheetah. For her skills, they're going to revolve around 4 main options. Elemental Trick is going to be absolutely core to the build, dealing low single target ice, fire, lightning, and earth damage over 4 hits, with critical hits generating the corresponding stain. As we have 100% crit rate, we will get one of each of the stains. From here we have the 3 different options that we can choose. Elemental Genesis is an excellent choice which deals extreme damage to all enemies over 8 hits, each hit dealing damage in a random element, and it can only be cast when you have one of each of the stains. This is such an all-round amazing option and it's so cheap to do, it only costs 4 AP. Provided you have the stains, this is going to be absolutely solid. The second absolutely devastating, also group clearing option is going to be Hell, dealing very high fire damage that applies 5 burn per hit to all enemies over 2 hits, consuming ice, earth, and lightning stains to greatly increase the damage, and is a 9 AP skill, so that very high fire damage is a little bit disingenuous. It is absolutely extreme damage. This option's bonkers, it does so much damage, it's more expensive, it costs all 9 AP to do, and is exclusively fire damage as well, so things to think about. And for our final option, we're going to have a single target solution. Lightning Dance deals very high single target lightning damage over 6 hits, with critical hits triggering an additional hit, so it'll deal 12, consuming earth, ice, and fire stains to greatly increase the damage. Again, I think it'd be pretty accurate to say this is extreme damage. It costs 7 AP, so not quite as expensive as Hell, not quite as cheap as Elemental Genesis, and exclusively hits for lightning damage, so another thing to think about. And those are all of the components of the build. All that's left is for us to go put it into practice. Upon starting a fight, we'll initiate First Strike to play first, activate a bunch of our powering up damage boosting skills, triggering our AP generation as well with Energizing Rush, Energizing Powerful, and Energizing Turn. First things first is we're going to play Elemental Trick, dealing ice, fire, lightning, and earth damage as critical hits, generating one of each of the corresponding stains. If you can see in the turn order that you have 3 turns to play, you can go ahead and use your second turn to execute a basic attack, applying Greater Defenseless to one of the enemies. With or without this step, you are absolutely primed to go down any of the 3 paths. Elemental Genesis is cheap, it costs 4 AP, and is going to deal extreme damage to all of the enemies over 8 hits, absolutely obliterating everything, and gives you a chance to use free aim shots to get rid of some shields if you need to do so. The other group clearing skill you can use instead is Hell, which is absolutely devastating too, and will similarly be primed with Elemental Trick, as you need an ice, earth, and lightning stain in order to boost it. This thing absolutely bangs, and goddamn, I feel sorry for any enemies that are weak to fire. And lastly, our single target solution, Lightning Dance, to deal very high lightning damage over over 6 hits or 12 hits because they're all crits, greatly boosted with an Earth, Ice, and Fire Stain, which we will of course also have because of the Elemental trick. This goes super hard, it outperforms Hell and Elemental Genesis over single target damage, provided the enemy isn't resistant to lightning, and they best bloody well hope they're not weak to it, because they will get absolutely zapped and clapped. That's 3 different paths you can go down in the same build, which are all incredibly powerful. There is a caveat that if any of the elements are absorbed, your Elemental trick will not generate the critical hit to generate the stain, which means you outright won't be able to even use Elemental Genesis, and both Hell and Lightning Dance will be their less powerful versions depending on which element got absorbed. But in those cases where this build isn't effective, you can just do something else. And there you have my new perfected 1-turn Lune build. Give it a spin and let me know how it works out for you. If you haven't caught the simple 1-turn builds for the other characters, definitely go check those out. If you enjoy my style of guides and builds for Expedition 33 and other games, you can subscribe for more. But either way, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, for those who come after.